Hi friends, I'm Jocelyn Peters. I'm the maker behind Mountain Song Designs, and welcome to this episode. Today is full of unicorns and dragons, plus all of the other nitty things. I have some designs that one just came out, another will be coming out soon. I have some old FOs, new FOs, some WIPs, patterns, books. Oh my gosh, the books today. I can't wait to share them with you. So let's get started. I'd like to start today by sharing with you my Coffee and a Sunrise socks. These are on sale now on Ravelry and Etsy. And if you check this, if you see this right when this video comes out, it may still be on sale. But if not, this is such a cool sock. Let me show you the lace. Here we go. We have our sunrises and coffee cups because it's a great way to start the day, and summer solstice. It's just a lovely, sunny, happy pair of socks. This yarn is Leverington Fiber Arts Showstopper Base, Sunny Side Up, Breaking Ground, and Moonstone. I adore these colors and together. So that's my Coffee and a Sunrise socks. If you'd like to hear even more about it, you can check out my last episode on YouTube. I also have a Substack newsletter where I talk all about it. I give you all the information. That is Mountain Song Designs on Substack. So let's move on to the next thing. Now I have some finished projects to share with you, some FOs. My first I'd like to share are these Echo Lodge socks. Now I showed them last time. I have both of them finished now. And look, the lace is mirrored. Isn't that so cool? So Echo Lodge. So last time I challenged you to see if you knew what the reference was. The hints were lavender, wandering lace. Anne of Green Gables is one of my favorite childhood book series, and in the second book, Anne of Avonlea, Anne and Diana make a providential wrong turn and they meet Miss Lavender, and she lives at Echo Lodge. And I named these for Miss Lavender and for Anne, and for their many rambles through the woods and chats about fairies and just lovely times searching for wild strawberries. There are so many beautiful, just beautiful things that happen in that book at Echo Lodge and around those characters. It makes me just emotional thinking about it. When you love something when you were a kid, it sticks with you, and this sock speaks to that part of my heart. Well, let me talk about the yarn and part of why I call this lavender, or associate it with Miss Lavender. So this is mustache yarn, perfect self-striping, perfect match, must match, sorry. It's Lavender Apple Blossoms is the colorway, and it's gorgeous. Stacy's yarns are always just so beautiful, and I have fun. I enjoy finding ways to use self-striping yarn because you can't always use it in everything. It's especially when the smaller stripes, you really want them to make the most of those smaller circumference knitting so you can really see those colors and just let them sing. And that's what these do. I just love them. So this is Lavender Apple Blossoms paired with Leverington Fiber Arts Breaking Ground, which you might remember from here. You can tell I really love this color with a purple. It's just so pretty. It grounds the colors. It has this meandering lace, and it's mirrored on the second sock and the heel. It's a toe-up sock. The heel is the same one as on my Fade Into Neverland socks. It's a very cool heel. And I wanted to have it with a complementary color for the heel because the Fade Into Neverland socks are written for one color through here, and you have to do it differently when you want a second color. So I took on that challenge, and this is what I have. It's in testing now, and it'll be released the beginning of July. So I will tell you more about it the next time, but I hope you are excited about it as I am, because these socks are so fun to knit, and I'm knitting a second pair, which I'll share with you in just a minute. Let me get out my next finished object. Last episode, I set myself a goal to finish my Garter Squish blanket in a month. It only took me a week. Look at this. It's huge. This blanket keeps going forever. And it's so squishy, and it's, oh my goodness. I've been waiting to use it until after I had filmed this, and now I get to use it tonight, and I'm so excited. This is a free pattern by Stephen West. It has two strands of Caron 1 pound held together, size 15 needles. I used a double chain bind off. I think I used a double chain cast on because it has an I-cord. And I really like double chain cast ons and bind offs with the I-cord. Sometimes you'll hear it as Chinese waitress. I think people have different names for it. Double chain works just fine because it describes what it looks like, and it's easy to do once you get the hang of it. And it's just really lovely with the I-cord. And the I-cord is so nice with all this gartery goodness, and it's a neat little marled kind of effect. We have our midnight blue is the blue, and the gold, I'm still not sure what the color is. Someday I'll come across that ball band and I'll let you know. But yeah, I'm super happy with this. So if you are someone who has some worsted weight yarn hanging out in your stash, it makes a great blanket. Now it takes a lot of it, but it's so worth it. I cannot wait to use this. So that is my Garter Squish blanket finished. My next FO is not a recent one, but it fits with the theme today. It's a dragon egg. Look at this dragon egg. How cool is that? That is crocodile stitch. I do crochet. I don't do it very often, but I do enjoy crochet occasionally, especially when you can get really cool textural, architectural kinds of effects. Now I made this, I'm guessing in like 2015, 2016 at least. It is a Game of Thrones dragon egg, but it was from before I watched Game of Thrones, and I've watched Game of Thrones for a long time, but I didn't start out watching it, but I had family members who did, so this was a Christmas present one year, and it's been so long I don't even remember who the pattern was by. Now on a search, I think it might have been the Bad Mushroom pattern that looks familiar. It's free, it's on a blog. It was a fun, really fun, took a long time, but a really fun pattern to do. Of course, since I've watched Game of Thrones, now I know that the egg's supposed to be a little bit rounder, but that's okay. It was so fun to make this and to gift it. So yeah, but dragons. Today's all about dragons and unicorns. So I'm going to move on to the next section. We're going to talk about WIPs that I have going on. And I have quite a few today. So let's get on to that. My first WIP that I'd like to share with you today is my Naomh shawl. I am back to it since I finished my blanket. I am back to it. I am getting so much lace done. Oh my goodness. I think I figured out I have about 80 or 90 rows left. So I'm getting there. I'll get there. Let me insert a picture here. It's hard to show lace, especially before it's been blocked while it's still on needles kind of bunched up. But I took a picture just so you can get a little better view of the lace for now. So I'll put that here. Okay, so that is the Naomh shawl, Goddess Knits, beading, lace. It's fun. It's really pretty. I like how these, let's see if I can show you this though. Can you see how those kind of build these diamonds that kind of remind me of flowers because of the beads involved, and the lace is very thoughtful and really lovely. I don't believe it's the pattern is available at the moment. Maybe it will be someday, but it's a really lovely and fun knit. That is Madelinetosh Prairie yarn in the color Envy, and some glow-in-the-dark beads. So that is my first WIP. Next WIP, let's see what I've got here. Echo Lodge sock. It's the size small, but look. So here's the back. This is Lolodidit. It's either plush sock or everyday sock. This is another thing I've had since maybe 2018. I adore this colorway. This is Once Upon a Time, named for the show, and of course I bought this while the show was airing. I watched every episode. I loved that show. And this is Bumble. It goes so well together. And of course, here's my little lace pattern. Oh, and look at my little guy with the sushi. Oh, cute little panda. I believe this must be Simply Serving, because basically all of my stitch markers are Simply Serving. So that is one thing I'm working on. Another Echo Lodge size small sock. And I just started the gusset, so I'm moving on. So that is another WIP. Next WIP, same yarn. And I don't know if I should count this as a WIP, because technically it is, but hopefully by the end of the week it won't be. It is completely finished and blocked, also in Once Upon a Time, but look at this. Look. Can you tell I like lace? I enjoy lace. I haven't knit lace in a long time, but then I just got back into it. But this is Daily Fancy by Stephanie Lotven. Now the reason this is a WIP is because I have not put the buttons on. And look at these buttons here. Let me show you this one. Guess what it is? It's a unicorn. It's a cute little unicorn, and I have them in different colors. I have purple, yellow, green, blue, and pink. And these are all going to go on this little girl sweater. And it's going to be so cute. And I finished everything except for the buttons. Do you ever do that? You get everything done and you have one step left and it just sits in a project bag for months or a year or 5. All it takes is an evening and a thread and a needle and you'd be done. So, since I like to do my WIPs from smallest to largest, right? That's my way of doing this, so I need to stick to it. And this needs to be done this week. So I'm going to do it and check it off my list and make it wearable. So that is next. Again, Once Upon a Time, but isn't it so pretty? Knit up. I love variegated and purple and yellow. They're just so pretty together. Can you tell I like that? Purple with the yellow. I love it. So that is that WIP. I have one final WIP. Now, this is a sweater. This is going to be a timely sweater by Libby Jonson. It's not much yet, but it will be. Now, I knit a timely in 2018, and I love it. I even made the buttons. I had a grand old time knitting the timely, and I felt like making another. So I'm using, let me get this out so I can show you better. Hippo for Naps by Lolodidit. Look at those blues and the purples. Oh my goodness. Blues and purples. I just can't even. So hang on, let me get this yarn out. Okay, I have my yarn out. So like I said, we have Hippo for Naps by Lolodidit. This is all everyday sock. And then these are the 4 colors on minis that came with this. The first one is the one I'm already using. I believe it's called Snooze. Each of these is named after a different type of nap. Who doesn't love naps? And blues and purples. So here's the next blue. And then the next blue with purple in it. And then a purple with blues in it. And I'm going to finish off the bottom and do the ribbing on the button band and the neckline with Arised. Look at that. I love Arised. It's such a pretty purple. But all of these are going to be so nice. So I'm really looking forward to wearing this cardigan. The purples and the blues are enough color to be just beautiful and a lovely color, but not so much that it'll be overpowering. I wear a lot of blues and purples, and it's not a neutral, but I kind of feel like it is maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just telling myself it's a neutral because I keep telling myself I need more neutrals in my life, but I keep knitting with all this gorgeous color. So either way, I'm going to enjoy wearing it. So I'm going to get knitting it. And I love that it's a whole lot of stockinette. So there's just a lot of knitting and not a whole lot of thinking. The parts where I do have to think, it's a really well laid out pattern, so it's not a big deal. And I'm going to enjoy doing that. So that's the final WIP of the day. Let's move on to from my pattern library. So the pattern from my library today that I have to share with you is not technically out of a book, but it is what I'm wearing today. This is the Daisy Lady by Stephanie Lotven. Also, if you'll remember, Stephanie Lotven designed Daily Fancy. She has lots of lovely patterns, but she has sweaters for adults and for children. And this one is for both adults and children. I actually test knit the Daisy Girl. The small one is the Daisy Girl. And it is so adorable. And the way it fits, you can make it a couple size, well, a size or two bigger for your little one. And on mine, it fit like a tunic. And then as she grew into it, it just fit like a top. And it was great. Now on me, I didn't need to have it any longer than I needed it. So I just made the size for me. So here is mine. See, this is a lovely stitch pattern. Oh, sorry if I touched that. The daisy stitch. I really enjoy knitting this. Now, I have knit 3 of these. 1 child size and 2 me size. This was the second one that I made. This is Lolodidit yarn. This is Blood. If you remember here they are. My Fade Into Neverland Socks with Walkers and Blood. It's the same yarn. I stole a little bit for this because it's a Game of Thrones shirt. I knit this during the last season of Game of Thrones, and blood seemed appropriate. You'll also notice there are dragons in Game of Thrones, keeping with our theme for the day, dragon egg, all the good stuff. And then I had this blue. This is Ice Ice Baby. I used it for the daisy stitch all throughout the sweater. And then Fire and Ice. All Lolodidit colors. I believe all of them. This is Plush sock. The Fire and Ice, the speckle is l'original. And Ice Ice Baby might be Everyday Sock. I don't quite remember. It's been a little while. But all the bases work really well together. I have never noticed that there are different bases in this. It just works really well. It's an easy to wear top, and I love it that there are, sort of a mommy and me version of a sweater. You don't see that too often, but when you do, I just think it's so sweet. Even if you don't actually knit it for your child, it's kind of nice to know that you could. So, but hopefully you would, but anyway, that is from my pattern library. Now you might also remember that it might have been the second episode I think it was the second episode, I shared one of Stephanie Lotven's books, what was it, Knit Happy, where she uses self-striping yarn. She uses a good bit of mustache yarn. Actually, the sweater I was wearing that day was mustache yarn, an Irish colorway. So fun. But that's another one. So if you're interested in more of her patterns, I go through that more. I believe it's episode 2. So let's move on to book reviews. Okay, before I get started with what I've been reading, I have to share with you my tea for the day. I'm drinking my novelties again. And the quote today is, "Never judge a book by its movie." J.W. Egan. That is so true. The book is always better. Sometimes if I'm given the choice of watching the movie first or the book, sometimes I watch the movie first so I can enjoy the book better. Sometimes I read the book and then wait 5 years and then watch the movie. It depends, but you probably can relate. The book or the movie is never as good as the book. But the next 2 books that I'm going to talk about, they could all be movies to some extent, I think. I think they'd all make really good movies. But let me take a sip and I'll get to it. By the way, look at this mug. Country Roads, Take Me Home, West Virginia. This is my daughter's mug. She's letting me borrow it. You might recognize her voice from the end of my episode. She always sings Country Roads at the end. And so this is her mug because she is the Country Road singer. But here I go. So good. All right, the first book. This is a kid's book, but you wouldn't know it. It is Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. Have you read this book? Oh my goodness. I was looking for an audiobook to listen to with my kids. We were going on a road trip. We needed something to listen to. So I saw something about unicorns. I thought, okay, let's do it. Oh my goodness, this book is so good. It's a kid's book, kind of like Harry Potter is a kid's book. It is appropriate for children, but adults absolutely can enjoy this book. I was so into it. It is by A.F. Stedman, and it's about this boy, Skandar Smith, and he is kind of overlooked, but he has hopes and dreams that maybe he will get to bond with a unicorn. Because there are unicorns in this world. The island has finally convinced the mainland that there are unicorns. And these unicorns are not the rainbows and clouds and stars unicorns that we know. They are wild. They are fierce. They are, they find a squirrel and they want to eat it right then. They are wild if they are not bonded to a human rider. And the riders and the unicorns both have magic, elemental magic. And it's really fascinating how it is woven together. It's developed. They have to go and learn how to be riders. There are races. There are competitions. There are twists and there are turns and there are surprises. There are good guys and bad guys and everything in between. And it's a wonderful read. There is another book out that I haven't read yet. It is Skandar and the Phantom Rider. I am looking forward to listening to it. Now, we did the audiobook. It's very well done. I recommend listening to it. Sometimes I don't enjoy the audiobooks as much, but this one was fantastic. So, if you have kids or if you don't have kids, but you do like a good adventure story, especially about unicorns that turns the tropes on their heads, this is a fantastic book to check out. Okay. We have to shift from unicorns to dragons. Yes, dragons. Lots of dragons today. We went from our pretty unicorns to kind of fierce unicorns, and now we're just all out dragons. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Oh my goodness. So I have seen the cover of this book online, maybe on Instagram. I had sort of seen it here and there. And I thought, okay, so it's another book that people want to read. Okay, so I got on, I should probably put more stock in that. I should. I don't always, because sometimes they're amazing and sometimes I don't really like them. But I thought, well, if everybody wants to read it, I'll borrow it from the library and check it out. Oh my goodness, I might buy this book. I want to read it again and again and again. This is about dragons, and again, riding dragons, humans bonding with their dragons. There's magic, very cool magic. There's death-defying things and not defying, lots of death. But it is done in such an exciting storytelling way. Again, you aren't sure who the characters are, which side they're on, who you're cheering for. You think one thing and then it changes, and it's a fantastic story and very well written. There's very little I could say that might not be absolutely positive, and those things aren't bad. So I say, if you like, it reminded me a bit of Divergent, sort of Hunger Games, kind of Harry Potter, in that you go to an academy. You have to learn how to be, you have to choose your path, go and learn. And in this one, if you want to be a rider, you have to hope you don't die just on the first day, let alone any other day after. It's very exciting. You don't know what's going to happen. So if you like adventure, stories like that. Now, Fourth Wing is not a children's book. It is a new adult book. So you need to be an adult to read it as far as the romance aspect of it goes. I would not recommend it for children, but if you enjoy romance and adventure, it's a fantastic story. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So that, my friends, is it for today. We've talked about dragons, we've talked about unicorns, we've talked about things that I have finished and I'm so excited about. Ooh, can't forget Anne of Green Gables and our lovely Miss Lavender. Lots of whips going on. Oh, so much knitting, and I love all of it. Don't forget to check out my Coffee and a Sunrise socks pattern on Ravelry, Jocelyn Peters Designs, or on Etsy, MTN Song Designs, if you'd like to hear all of my musings and thoughts about knitting and life and all kinds of fun stuff. Also, when patterns are released, you will get an extra discount if you are on Substack with me. You can get my emails sent to you every week, or just go check it out on Substack. I am Mountain Song Designs. You'll find me on Instagram as Mountain Song Designs also, if you want to see all the pretty pictures. So thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe, like, hit buttons, all the good things. And here we go with Country Roads. I'll see you next time. Slán Siva and happy knitting.
Country roads, take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.